You know that feeling? You've got an item sitting right there in your digital cart. Your mouse is hovering over the buy button, but you just hesitate. Welcome to this explainer on B2C digital marketing. Today, we're going to unpack the psychology of the online shopper and dive into the massive corporate machinery waiting on the other side of that checkout screen.
Here's our game plan. We're going to define B2C digital marketing, profile the digital consumer, and break down the entire online shopping experience. From there, we'll look at the 3 types of e-retailers and wrap up with how they master the omni-channel strategy.
All right, Part 1, Defining B2C Digital Marketing.
So, what are we actually talking about here? Well, the crucial point is that B2C is all about direct sales to individuals like you and me. We aren't talking about a massive factory buying tons of raw steel from a supplier. Nope, we're talking about you buying a fresh pair of running shoes directly from Nike's website, or maybe grabbing a new bestseller from massive digital marketplaces like Amazon or Tokopedia. It's these daily, individual commercial transactions that literally power the modern internet economy.
Moving right along to Section 2, Profiling the Digital Consumer. Let's see who is actually clicking that checkout button.
Marketers essentially put us into 2 different buckets to figure out who we are. On one side, we have classification variables. These are your stable demographics, like age, income level, geography, and education. But honestly, that's only half the story. The real magic happens with the character variables on the other side. This represents our internal psychology. Do you inherently trust the internet? Do you find new tech fun, or is it incredibly frustrating? Those internal traits strongly dictate your likelihood to actually click that buy button.
And check out this massive demographic shift. While early internet usage leaned pretty heavily male, the modern landscape has fundamentally flipped. A staggering 83% of online purchases are now driven by women. It's a real game changer. That single statistic completely reshapes how digital storefronts are designed, marketed, and curated today.
Furthermore, the ability to actually shop online is rapidly democratizing. For instance, recent research points to a 50% increase in internet access among African Americans in the US compared to previous baselines. So digital marketing is no longer just a niche or exclusionary space. It's a constantly broadening market reaching across all racial, ethnic, and geographic lines.
Which brings us to Section 3, the online shopping experience. This is literally the ultimate question for any digital marketer. You can have the absolute perfect target demographic browsing your site, but if their internal fears take over, they will abandon their cart in a heartbeat. So what exactly are we so afraid of when we shop online? Well, research identifies 6 key risks we actively try to avoid. Financial risk is obvious, right? It's that sheer panic that your money vanishes into the ether. Then there's product performance risk. We've all been there, that sinking feeling when the shirt arrives and looks nothing like the glossy photo, practically fitting a small dog instead of you. And let's not forget time risk. If a website takes more than, say, 3 seconds to load, our trust completely evaporates and we bounce straight over to a competitor. Look at how this UK data perfectly correlates our risk with what we actually buy. Sitting comfortably at the #1 spot, books. Books are incredibly safe. They don't break in the mail, and you know exactly what you're getting. But drop down to #4, electronics. Buying a laptop carries a massive performance risk. Because of that, electronics retailers absolutely must have rock-solid, incredibly easy return policies just to calm our nerves.
So how do businesses actually soothe those anxieties and build long-term loyalty? They focus heavily on these core drivers. They show care with transparent order tracking so you aren't left pacing the floor guessing where your package is. They build community by platforming authentic customer reviews, because let's be real, we trust each other way more than we trust corporate ads. And they establish character, building a reliable brand personality that feels like a familiar, trusted friend.
All right, Section 4, 3 types of e-retailers. Let's flip the coin and look at the operational reality.
From the retailer's perspective, they generally fall into one of these 3 structural categories. You have your traditional bricks and mortar, which are purely physical storefronts. Then you have clicks and mortar. These are hybrid models. Think of the bookstore chain Gramadia, where you have physical aisles you can browse on a Sunday, but also a fully functional digital shop. Finally, you have the virtual or pure-play retailers, like Amazon, operating entirely online without traditional physical storefronts for consumers to visit.
But here's the catch. Regardless of the model they use, they all live and die by a standard called e-tail quality, or e-tail-Q for short. A beautiful website design means absolutely nothing without fulfillment reliability, meaning the product actually shows up on time and looks right.
Throw in the absolute necessity for strict security and privacy with safe payment gateways, because without those, that financial risk we talked about triggers immediately, and poof, the consumer is gone forever.
Which leads us to our final section. Section 5, Mastering the Omnichannel Strategy. It's kind of wild to look at this historical progression. In the early 90s, business internet was literally just basic email. By 1995, some pioneers started building out rudimentary web channels. Fast forward to 2008, and a website became your baseline for survival. But look at 2015 and beyond. Just having a website doesn't cut it anymore. We are now living fully in the era of omnichannel dominance.
The great realization of the modern era is that digital marketing doesn't exist in a vacuum. A shopper might see a really slick TV ad, drive to a physical store to touch the product to lower that performance risk, and then go home and buy it online to use a discount code. This seamless circular blend of offline and online worlds, that is the omnichannel approach.
Surviving this omni-channel world boils down to 3 absolute necessities for businesses. First up is integration. You have to eliminate the gaps. If your website says an item is in stock, the physical store better have it right there on the shelf. Second is agility. Rigid, slow-moving corporate structures are basically dead. You need flat, flexible teams making rapid decisions. And third is performance. Your brand must feel just as reliable on a 6-inch smartphone screen as it does walking into a flagship physical store.
We've seen just how deeply interconnected the digital and physical realms have become to satisfy our psychology. But it leaves us with a really compelling thought. As websites get perfectly optimized and shipping becomes almost instantaneous, where does that leave the traditional physical storefront? I'll leave you to reflect on that dynamic tension between our constant need for digital speed and our deep human desire for tangible, physical experiences. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the world around you.